London, 2:30 GMT time live. And each week we talk to some very powerful, thought-provoking women on Talking with Leon. And we hope it resonates with you. We hope it gives you something to take away with you. These are women that are in the mediums, clairvoyance, yogis, something that you can, something that gives you something to take away, as I said, that resonates with you. Today, I'm really happy to have Angelique Tsang. Now, Angelique heads what is it? A workshop, I guess, a monthly workshop called the Appreciation Game. She's had some amazing results. It's all about manifestation. It's all about love, and I'm going to let her do most of the talking. I'll only interrupt if there's something that I want to ask. But Angelique is completely compelled to this work. Angelique,
Hi, Leon.
how are you?
I'm good.
Looks like you're on the beach there.
Yeah, I just couldn't stay
Lucky
home in this
you.
weather. Yeah, thank
That's
you.
amazing. This gives you meaning to a relaxed a relaxed atmosphere.
No, this is actually what we teach at the appreciation game, which is really about following your highest excitement. And of course, it would have made more sense to go home and to like be in a Wi-Fi zone, and but it really didn't feel right. And so we really teach people how to listen to their inner guidance and to actually almost disregard the logic in our mind. And I really was planning to go home and sit nicely behind the desk, but then I was like, that doesn't feel right. It almost broke my heart. And I thought, well, you need to practice what you preach and stay in the beach and just like live what you teach, which is
Wow.
I want to be here. I want to be here with beautiful people. And I can do this. We have like, amazing things, amazing technology. So
We do,
so
we
this
do.
is me.
Now listen, you've had some almost miracles, some amazing results from the appreciation game, which is an interactive program, isn't it? It's interactive. I mean,
Yes.
you have a bunch of
Yes.
people on there. Tell us how you came, how you discovered it, how you came into it. Was it through your own life of something you were seeking, and then you brought it to the people? So, what brought you to the appreciation game? Number one, what is it, and how do we create these miracles in our lives? They're the three questions. I'll let you answer that.
Okay, so just very short. I mean, I went onto a healing course. I'm not even sure which year. It was many, many, many years ago when I kept meeting people that said, "You have healing hands. You have healing hands." And I was like, "What are healing hands?" I didn't understand what they were talking about. And then basically, people said you need to read this book, Barbara Brennan, because she was like a NASA scientist, and her books were really rigorously researched. And so she was the first person that I actually studied because I didn't want to, because I was very empirical. I was a tax lawyer and then I was a headhunter. So I was really in the 3D world, if you know what I mean. I wasn't really into spirituality or healing or even Reiki. I didn't even know what Reiki was, if you understand what I mean. So when people kept telling me, like I would go to parties and people would come up to me and said, "You have healing hands." I was like, what's going on? There must be something up, like I need to read some books. But as you know, when you read books about healing, it doesn't mean you understand it. And so one day I thought, okay, I'm going to actually go to a healer who is trained by Barbara Brennan, who was also a scientist. This woman was doing research in the university. I think she was doing research on the immune system because I didn't really trust this healing world. I really only wanted to work with people who were also had like footing in science. And actually, when I started studying with her, I started finding out that I was very psychic. So we had to do a lot of like really, we had to do things like read people's auric fields, understand where they had pain in their body without actually them telling us, and also read their biggest fears and things like that. And I could just do it because I was trained to do so. But then after a while, she started teaching us all these processes that I didn't even know why she was teaching us these processes, but later on I found out these were manifestation processes. And she didn't tell us who they were from. And she said, and later on I found out when I moved to London that they were by a group of divine intelligence called Abraham. And Abraham is channeled by a woman called Esther Hicks. And when I found out, I was like, by that time, I literally, because I was doing the processes, which is literally write down every day what you want to do, and then you outsource all your wishes to the universe. And you basically give thanks every day, and you appreciate every day. And within 6 months, everything that was on my list was in my life. So for me,
through your course, through Abraham Hicks, basically, through studying Abraham Hicks. Right.
No,
Okay.
that was before I studied Abraham Hicks. I didn't even know what I was doing, Leon. I just did the processes without knowing what I was doing. I was like an innocent student. I was just like, oh, I'm actually here at a healing course, not understanding that I was also being taught to manifest, to create. I was just there to heal and to, like, you know, heal other people. I didn't understand that there was a next process, which is you manifest, you create what you want. And so when I realized 6 months later that everything that I wrote down, including a job in London, including a dream relationship, including, a house at the river in London, I thought, okay, I probably did something. And then I found out it was Abraham Hicks. And then I started studying Abraham Hicks like mad. I bought all their books, and I was traveling in the tube from Canary Wharf to Mayfair. And I was listening to Abraham Hicks like day in, day out. I was studying obsessively, what are they teaching us? And then I realized, the truth of their teaching. And one of their teachings is, if there's only one skill you would practice, and it would be appreciation, and then your whole life would turn around in 30 days. And in 6 months, your life will be so different that people don't even recognize you. And so this is something that I was studying like since 2006. And I was like, what is that about? That just sounds too easy. Just sounds way too easy. I don't even believe it. But then last year, I was walking on the beach doing a walking meditation where I was in touch with my future self, or my highest vision of the future. And I had this download, which is like something that comes into your mind. So it's not something you make up. It's something that comes to you. And it said, you're going to design a game. And I didn't know what it was. I was like, okay, I need to design a game, but I don't know what it was. And then suddenly I had this download, the developer will come to you. You don't even have to look for the developer. And I was like, really? So every time I was sat somewhere in a restaurant or was going to an event, I was looking at who's going to come and sit next to me. Who's going to come and sit next to me? And literally after the retreat, 1 week later, I went home, and a friend of mine from Australia came and visited me. And I was in masterminds with him. I didn't even know what he was doing. And he said to me, Angie, did you know I quit my job and I'm starting my app development company? And I looked at him and I was like, I think you're the developer that I need to work with. And like now he's the one that developed our appreciation game app. And then the next download came later on, and it said, you're going to work with this girl, Ellen. And I'm like, I don't even know Ellen. And I come from headhunting. So before I work with somebody, I normally would go through your CV and your skill set, and we would do like, big interviews, and we would clarify whether we even have the same objectives and things like that. But because I was in that time so trusting my downloads, and I knew that I was guided, I just trusted it. And literally Ellen and I are so aligned. We are very similar, but also very complementary. That's my business partner.
So
So
everything
the way
came
that,
to you. Everything came to
yes,
you from what you call a download, but
yes.
the work you put in is the appreciation on a daily basis, which was what you learned from the Abraham, being compelled to Abraham Hicks. Just explain to everyone out there. I know everyone knows what appreciation means, but how do you exercise it? What should you do on a daily basis to appreciate?
So it sounds very simple, but actually it's not, So we
Right.
found out that we were studying all the quotes and all the videos from Abraham Hicks about appreciation. Appreciation is not gratitude, because gratitude is very often we receive something that's good. But appreciation is actually raising the value of something, increasing the value of something. So
Give us a little example if you can.
So let's say you're not grateful that you're fired. yeah?
Right. Right.
But you can appreciate that you're fired because actually you could now see that you hated the job anyways. Or you
Right.
don't appreciate that you are aging, but you can increase the value of, you know, us living long lives. So, and for instance, you don't like, you know, your mother-in-law, but you can appreciate that she has had maybe a tough life and she's coming from a different generation. So in appreciation goes against a lot of the judgments we have. And actually when you we found out, and this is really coming from my background of years and years of study, appreciation goes against the most habitual ways of 7 toxic ways of thinking. So normally our brain and the way we analyze things can be categorized in the 7 toxic ways of thinking. And these are so toxic that they actually are like filters that blind ourselves of seeing actually the truth of a situation. And when you start to replace the 7 toxic ways of thinking and being with appreciation, your whole life turns around. And you know, so the thing is, you
So
need to understand what
who's
are the
listening?
7 toxic ways of thinking.
Who's listening
Yeah.
to the alignment of your life turning around? So let's say I'm appreciating and I'm going in the right direction with the appreciation, and I'm kind of aligned with the appreciation. Who's listening?
Your higher self.
Okay.
Okay, so I will give you an example. So for instance, our appreciation game has saved marriages within 1 month. And we had a lot of people that actually came to us, and you know, we very quickly teach them how to recognize the 7 toxic ways of thinking. One of the 7 toxic ways of thinking, which we are blindly doing all day, day in, day out, is devaluation. We devalue ourselves, we devalue other people, we devalue business opportunities, we devalue our life, we devalue, you know, whatever we have.
Yeah.
So, but most of all, when we're in a marriage, let's say we're in a marriage or we're in a business situation, we so often go into victimhood, which is another way of toxic thinking. We go into victimhood, we blame, and we devalue other people. So we always say, oh, poor me, oh, my husband wasn't nice to me, oh, my colleagues are so horrible to me. And actually, when what Abraham was teaching is actually whatever is happening to you means you are a vibrational match to it. You created it because you are holding that in vibration in your being, in the way that you are expressing yourself. And so when people come to us and they start looking at the areas in their life that are most frustrating, for instance, their marriage or their children or their finances or their business or their health, and instead of being stuck in this is the way it is, these people are just horrible, maybe I should leave this job, maybe I should leave this husband, maybe I should leave this wife, right? They start looking at how did I create a situation where these people are not nice to me, and they start taking responsibility and they start appreciating the best of these people, even if it was just a few things. What we've seen and what seems to be miraculous is that suddenly these husbands, these colleagues, these clients, their children, they start becoming different people. And so this is, to me, you know, me having been in this game with many players and seeing how their lives turned around, it has so inspired me to actually be a better person, because I was like, Angelique, you cannot be a victim, because you can see that other people, when they start getting out of victimhood and they start appreciating the best in other people even before it shows up, these other people are influenced by the way that you appreciate them. They feel it. They start reacting to
It's
it.
contagious.
I think it's so interesting because, you know, very often when you're stuck in victimhood, we really want to see this colleague or, you know, my husband or my mother-in-law or my neighbor or the politicians, they're to blame, right? We're so stuck in the way that we look at the world. And actually what we've seen with the people that play with us is they are so desperate that, you know, like, how can you divorce your children, right? We've had mothers that were like at their wits' end because they felt abused by their children. You know, you can imagine a mother with 5 children in their home and none of them are, let's say, even cleaning the kitchen. And then we just said,
Right.
okay, maybe you should appreciate the best of your children and start have all these more heart-based conversations with them. And some of them had children write them letters of gratitude even without them doing anything. They were just appreciating inwardly, you know what, I love my children, you know what, my children are this and that. And suddenly these children would just write letters of appreciation to them. Husbands that were like, we had people that were almost on the verge of divorce. And we started saying, you know, even if you divorce your husband, can you appreciate your husband? And people started feeling the love of their husband again. And their husbands again saw the real person instead of the wound. So often we go into wounding and we start thinking that's who I am, but that's not who we are, you know, and that's so inspiring, Leon. I don't know whether you can relate to this,
I
or
can,
whether you have
look,
any questions.
you don't even have to use words. I'm feeling your enthusiasm, like just coming through the screen here. It's amazing. But tell us more about the appreciation game. What is it? A monthly thing? It's a monthly bunch of people that get together for night. Is it every night? What do you teach appreciation? Yes, is
Yes,
that?
we teach about appreciation, but it happens in the context of a lot of different teachings. So we also talk about, how do we stay stuck in the victim? How do you even recognize victim behavior? How do you recognize saboteur behavior? How do you recognize that you are in the fight, flight, or free system, so that you don't actually you're not even resourceful, so you start doing things that are so far removed from your inner wisdom. And how do you actually get out of energy consciousness that is very destructive to our well-being and to our clarity? So it's very much like an awakening when people come to us. So we had a game where we used to play every month, but we're now re-strategizing, because we just started to work with a marketing consultant, and he was saying, you know, you want a game with high investment, high commitment people, not low investment, low commitment, because then it doesn't work. So we're now thinking about a 6-month game with like every month a new theme, and with every week a new skill that people will learn.
Right.
Because we know a lot of people in the world now, you know, knowledge is free. You can watch every YouTube, you can
Sure.
listen to every audiobook, you can go to every course, you can download 500 hours of knowledge and not do it. And so we are there to actually go say, you know, you're fed up with knowing it, you want to do it. But the things that you need to do to get the big transformation in your life are actually hard work, because we have to challenge our own bullshit. And that's the only person we need to challenge our own freaking bullshit. And that is hard work, you know, because, but the thing is, it's so liberating when you do it.
And you have some amazing guests too. You've got Dr. Joe Dispenza. I saw him on there. So you've got some amazing influential guests too, right? People that talk about manifestation, meditation, these sorts of things, which are all very important.
We haven't interviewed Dr. Joe Dispenza yet, but we're all students of Dr. Joe Dispenza. We have some more of the up and coming new teachers. So we have like people like Chris Dillard, Nick Rowe, and you know, so we find the people that are the more up and coming spiritual teachers that are really also having following, like people, thousands of people following them. And so and one day we will be interviewing Dr. Joe Dispenza, definitely, yeah.
I'm sure. And you know, everybody out there would like to manifest what they want in their life, whether it's a soulmate, more money, abundance, health. Everybody wants that. It's something that everybody wants. Tell us about, because when I was chatting to you previously, you said that everyone can align with those desires and create those things to become reality in their lives, correct?
I think so.
I want to hear more about that.
The thing is, so basically one of the key teachings of Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has influenced us a lot, is that a lot of people try to create a new reality being the same old personality. So they're victims and they want to create victory. They are angry and they want to create peace of mind. They are, you know, they are resentful and they want to create happiness. So he says, in order to become more, we actually allow in those things that we want in our lives, we have to change our personality. And so we need to have a bigger vision of who we want to be, than who we think we are. And but the thing is, our body is conditioned to the past by a lot of stories and a lot of automatic habits. So for instance, there's people in our community, and some of us have had big things happen which make us depressed, which make us feel not on top of the world. But the thing is, we work with personality models that make us understand that the way we feel, the way that consciousness is expressed through our being actually tells us how far we are from alignment or how close we are from alignment. So we use the David Hawkins consciousness scale, and the David Hawkins consciousness scale is used by a lot of teachers, and it's very, very accurate. There are other models out there, so you have the Enneagram, you have the MBTI, but the David Hawkins consciousness scale for us is really, really reliable, because it says to us, as soon as you are not taking responsibility for your life, meaning you're still blaming something outside of you, you are not aligned with your true power. And without your true power, you're giving your power away all the time. So you're giving your power away to the government, you're giving your power away to the news, you're giving your power away to your ex-husband, you're giving your power away to maybe your parents who didn't even know how to love you the right way, you're giving your power away to maybe your teenage children or your neighbors who are always waking you
So
up.
if we can, okay, so if we can harness that power, sorry to dive in, if we can harness that power, does that give us the ability to align with our desires in a more powerful way? So because we're not getting into the negatives, if we ignore those things, do we have a better chance of alignment? Basically,
the thing is like, that's why I think people love the appreciation game, because we give them the teachings bite size, and it's not just knowing it, you have to do it. So for instance, you can read the book and listen to an audiobook summary of the David Hawkins consciousness scale, but the thing is, you need to then apply it into your own life. So you have to catch yourself going back into victimhood, blaming somebody else than yourself that something is not working in your life. So for instance, you could feel very, you could say COVID is the worst thing that's happened to my business, and now I have to revamp my business. Maybe it's the best thing that happened to you. Do you understand?
right.
So I think the thing is really about, for us, when people join us in the game, because you have to do every day, you have to have a check-in. Every week we have at least 2 calls, and we give you bite-sized teaching. So every day you are not just checking in with what's going on in your life, but you're also reading the posts of all the other players. You are reminded all the time of your power, and of that you're not the only one struggling with themselves. All of us have struggles. All of us are in this game of life, overcoming certain addictions, or an addiction is everything that meets your needs at a high level, which is a Tony Robbins definition. So we're not even talking about drugs or something. You could be addicted to victimhood, you could be addicted to feeling sorry for yourself, right? You could be addicted to fear, you could be addicted to I want to know everything, but I'm never going to get out of my comfort zone. So of course these are choices that people can make, but I think the people that join us, they actually want to make changes because they're in so much pain, or they're so fed up with playing small, that they say, I want a fun game that is light, that will teach me 1 skill a week, that keeps me accountable, that makes me connect with a tribe of people who are actually doing it. They're not talking about it, they're not reading about it, they're not posting beautiful, Instagram quotes. They're actually doing it, and they're showing in our videos, you can see in our testimonials, people are turning their lives around. They become more connected with the true self, and all of us have a true self. The reason why we're in pain is because we are not aligned with our true self, and that is what the David Hawkins consciousness scale is teaching us. As long as we are not aligned with our true self, we are in pain. We will know that we are not aligned with our true self because it shows up in pain in areas in our lives. So for instance, if you have all these areas in your life where it's working, but there's one area where it's not working, there is pain there because there's like some kind of belief system that is not aligned with the higher vision of the divine or the universe or whatever you want to call it. And then, what we teach you is you can change it. There's nobody out there that can change it for you apart from you. And it's actually so much fun and so much easier when you start to challenge your own bullshit. And it's
Now,
so empowering.
why do we keep escaping this alignment? Why do we sidestep it all the time? What is the fear that keeps us not aligned? What is it?
I think it's easier to do in a group, Leon, because when you're in a group and you have people like me who are, I'm not teaching my own stuff. I'm just like, everything I give you, you can find for free on YouTube or on Audible, or, on, any blog of one of the big teachers. But the thing is, it takes repetition into the subconscious mind to actually create new neural pathways so that you outgrow your outdated ways of being. So if people are always feeling victimized by their children because their children aren't helping them in their household, or they're feeling bullied by their boss because their boss is always giving them crazy deadlines, you can suffer in silence, or you can say, I'm going to now go and look for a book about influencing my children, influencing my boss, or you can go to maybe a bit more spiritual way, which is what we believe in, which is your level of consciousness created the dynamic that you are not happy about. So it's your level of consciousness that can shift the dynamic to a higher level. But when you do it with a group of people, you find evidence, because you're struggling with your children, somebody else is struggling with their boss, another person struggling with their husband, and then you see them turning it around, and you actually look back and then you see, oh my God, this person used to be struggling with their husband. They were struggling with their colleagues, and now they're writing what they did, what they changed, and we see them on the video, and they are different people. So I think when you do it in a group, we need evidence. We need to be reminded over and over again about our power, because when people are not reminded about their power, it's all intellectual knowledge. It's like, what we call the far from our bed show in Holland, meaning
Right.
other people are doing it, but you haven't seen evidence of it working in your own life. But I think when you see people who are reading the same material, they're studying the same stuff, they're posting in the same forum like you, they're struggling, and then suddenly they have a breakthrough because they stopped playing the victim, they started becoming a different person, disregarding what other people were doing. They became the better version of themselves, and then by doing so, they suddenly started seeing people in a different way. People started responding differently to them. I think that is very empowering. So we do need the mirror effect of people in a tribe that we can relate to, that we see not as superhuman, super normal beings, just normal people like us struggling and then having breakthroughs. I think that is the value of doing the work together, but also consistently on a daily basis. Because I don't know about you, Leon, but I know a lot of people who are addicted to retreats and workshops. They go there for a high,
Been there, done
and
that.
then a week later,
We've
2
all
weeks
done a
later,
bit
a
of
month
that.
later, they are back. And then they're like, oh my God, I need to go to the next retreat. I need to maybe leave my job. But that's not the answer. The answer is applying what you know on a day-to-day basis, but doing it bite-sized. So all the things that we teach people, they have the power in itself to shift your life just by changing one skill set. But the thing is, because it has an accumulative effect because of how we are feeding the knowledge and the playful way that we give it to you bite-sized, that is helping people to shift.
You're so fluent with this that it's obvious to see your love for this and your passion for this. You seem to live for this.
I have goosebumps right now, Leon. I don't even know. And it's at the beach. And you know what? This was not. I didn't. This is not my game. I really feel blessed that I was given this, and I feel a big responsibility to also execute it in the right way because it is so simple, Leon. It is so simple. But it's like, I keep saying, like if you have a gym membership and you only go once a week, what are you going to get? You're not going to get the beach body, right? Or you're not going to get fit. The same as you have a gym membership but you never go there. I mean, the thing is, we need a mental gym. People need a mental gym every day, and that's what we provide, a mental gym. We give you mental diets. We give you mental health food, spiritual health food, spiritual
Well,
vitamins.
I think everybody could use a dish of that. Well,
Absolutely.
listen, it's been, you've been an incredible guest, really. It's been a pleasure just listening to you and taking all this in. Where do people find you? It's the appreciation